All right. Welcome to another live stream. We're gonna start shortly. Just give me 1 second here. All right. So, hope you guys are good. Tomorrow we have a bank holiday heading into Friday. Today we have triple witching. We have had FOMC, and markets have been, today at least, a bit rather. I was expecting more volatility in certain sectors, but apparently it was just gold today. So we're gonna cover a lot of things. You guys also should now be able to ask questions directly, whether on YouTube or here on X. If I see those questions popping off, right? Happy to go over them. And yeah, I hope we're gonna have like a nice session where we can also maybe also discuss some macro with what the Fed now has been suggesting, and how this is going to shift markets going forward. We will obviously have to see and figure out. But one thing I just wanted to highlight, guys, the market, the Fed Watch tool. Let me open this one up. So now on the next meeting, the chances of a rate hike, sorry, not in July, it's like there is a 1/3 chance here for another rate hike in July. By September, the chances are very high that we will have another rate hike. Towards the end of January, Q1 2027, the odds are even higher to be in at least another additional rate hike. So we would go from now 3.5, 3.75 to maybe even 4 to 4.25. So that's a big shift here. Whether or not the markets have priced this in, I highly doubt it. Looking at some certain sectors like the Russell, right back into the new all-time high here after some volatility yesterday, right, almost back at the all-time highs, with likely looking for a new all-time high close. So, why am I using the Russell here as an indication? Small caps obviously have the highest correlation to potential rate changes, as most of them are just swimming in debt. Okay, so this I just wanted to make sure you guys understand. And let's have a look. Are there any questions for now? Nope. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go over a post which has been raising some misinformations and hate, right? And this is the post from yesterday, right? Gold is seeking out a new 1-hour bottom. The last 1-hour bottom was Monday night, early Tuesday. If this 1-hour cycle was to fail, we would confirm a 4-hour correction taking place. Ergo, longs will play. Now listen, based upon the 4-hour, once we got the technical setup for it. Okay, different language, dump and pump. So I don't know why people got mad about this. Maybe they misunderstood stuff. And then I even highlighted this. Those who longed too early got trapped. 1 hour cycle just failed. So that's picture perfect unfolding here. We're going to go into gold on these lower time frames, what that post actually meant. And we're going to have also a look into a potential setup thereafter. Okay, so just here, once again, back into the daily here. If you paid attention, followed the live updates, right, about gold, yeah, people got overwhelmed here after a 4-day rise, right? And now we are seeing some red candles. People are getting emotional. And why? Because they do not understand the price action. As simple as this, period. Right? Copy pasting idiots cannot justify the TA, but we can do this with our cycles. So, as I was suggesting in my prior live streams, the trend is clearly shifting or has been shifting to the downside, right? One good indicator here is, as I mentioned, our daily MAs, right? In an uptrend, they're your best friend. In a downtrend, look at this, they're your worst enemy. So, the ultimate question here, whether or not we are going to see another daily undercut or not, is the question of whether or not this daily cycle here has bottomed. I've come to the conclusion, as I was suggesting in my very first live stream, that we have left behind a daily cycle low here, and that this is now likely another daily cycle low, and if not, right, then this will get sold lower before then having another chance for more upside. The daily declining trend line here is one which needs to be claimed by the bulls, right? And then they have quite some room here to grind on into our magnetic field, I call it, right? 4450 and 4510. So what else we can see here is the 200 is right there, right? And the longer this takes, the 55 is also slowly but surely coming down into this range. So we gotta keep an eye on this. I still believe we are going to head there. It's just when, not if. Now, the post I did earlier, follow to ask questions. The post I did yesterday, right? That's the purest form of cycles. So let me show you how to look into this, right? What I posted was right there. This was the last 1 hour bottom, right? Monday evening, Tuesday morning. We had a very nice long 1 hour cycle, the high, the correction, the top, right? If you drag here an inclining trend line on the 1 hour, we closed below and we got some horizontal support. I think I even mentioned this during the live stream, right? That 4305 area right there. So anyway, we got the bounce, right? And I don't know what people have been afraid of, right? The high, the correction, the top, and look at this. We got the failure, right? So looking at this is exactly what I was posting here, right? Gold is seeking out a new 1 hour bottom. The last 1 hour bottom, Monday night, early Tuesday. And now, listen up carefully. Based upon the 4 hour, once we got the technical setup for it, right? Patience. Looks like people don't have patience for some reason, right? Not understanding price action makes you FOMO. And there you go. So what happened here is a clear break and failure. So, and then I got asked questions afterwards. I was nice enough to respond to them, right? Now the question is, has this been another 1 hour bottom, or is it one which is still taking place here, right? If we measure this move, yesterday's low could have been a 1 hour bottom. It would be a short one, but it would fulfill the criteria. What else was noteworthy? We literally closed that gap and bounced very nicely off it. And guess what? People FOMOed in because, oh, look at this. We closed the gap. We're gonna rally. And I literally said to my subscribers, hey, don't overthink this too much. We will likely go lower. Because these patterns, on no matter on what kind of time frame, are reoccurring patterns. What kind of patterns am I referring to? So every time when we see a drop like this, we tend to call back up, right? Boom. There you go. These are reoccurring patterns, and once you understand the price action behind it, they not only give you a very good risk-reward attempt. Look at these 1 hour MAs here, capped containing price. Look at this, right? A beauty. Now, is the 1 hour bottom in, or are we right now about to pull off another 1 hour bottom, and this one maybe ends up being the one leading price for a 4 hour continuation, right? This will be ultimately the question to ask. And now, what to make of this? We have the horizontal and psychological level here at 4200s we need to be aware of. Okay. What else do we have? We have an entire 4 hour cycle, right? We have also the requirement within my personal cycle framework, which is we need a lower degree cycle failure to confirm a higher degree cycle to be in a corrective phase. And guess what? What's the corrective phase here? A 4 hour correction, right? So, and here we go. So we pull off our FIB levels. Look at this. The 0.5 here is right at that psychological level here at 4200. So we will have to see whether or not this area is going to be holding price, right? Is it going to be that 1 hour bottom, right? From here? Or have we just failed another 1 hour cycle and we're gonna find some local support somewhere in here? We're gonna have another rally up before undercutting and going even deeper. Okay, so what's the game plan here? Well, there are many, right? And it really depends on what kind of trader you view yourself. Okay, there are some scalp, like only scalp traders. There are some like intra-week swing traders, broader swing traders, right? And to me, I don't feel comfortable right now to be like, all right, that's the new 1 hour bottom and this is it. The 4 hour correction is over and we're gonna head higher. Why? Let's zoom out a bit here. But I still believe this 4 hour cycle isn't gonna fail, and that's important. I'm not talking about the 1 hour cycle, I'm talking about this entire 4 hour cycle here. So by zooming out, measuring the candles here, 35 candles, right? We are indeed starting to get into some interesting time windows here within the 4-hour cycle. But I would argue it may be the bottom within this 1-hour cycle, or we are already in a new one, and we will see maybe one more time a relief rally before another undercut. So where would I be inclined here to look at? We highlight the 0.618, we highlight the 0.786, and this one here is going to be the ultimate must hold. Okay, there is no other way around it. So, and I think there is some support here on that smaller breakout here at 41. Let's use this one, 41. Let's be a bit generous, 41.30. Okay, so now after doing this, you could technically have multiple areas, right? 41.60, 41.30, 41.0 for potentially adding, accumulating, right? If your conviction is very high that this 4-hour cycle isn't gonna fail, then you can accumulate here slowly but surely, okay? I would personally start, I don't like the 0.618 too much. I would, if we were to go down this road, right, I would aim for like 41, 40, 30, right? Knowing very well the 0.786 cannot fail. So to everyone listening here, make sure you got the memo here, okay? Very, very important. So give me just 1 second. I will be right back, and I hope I'm gonna see some of you actually asking questions. All right? All right, I'm back. Just a small microphone check. Can you guys hear me? Microphone check. I hope so. Let's have a look here. Okay, perfect. So now let's have a look here. I'll be right back. Give me just 1 second. Okay, screen is back. Okay, now, so that's where how I believe gold is going to be playing here. I do not view that this 4-hour cycle is going to fail. I'm still very much optimistic, right? Okay, that we are going to see a pivot and a 4-hour continuation move into this area right here. So now, am I gonna risk all my entire portfolio because of this potential setup? No. However, it is a very good risk reward, especially the lower we get here. So if we indeed see another move back up of this support here, for example, right? Maybe reattach to our 4-hour MAs before one last undercut. Knowing the invalidation levels, right? Because if we lose the 0.786, what becomes clear is that the higher degree cycle hasn't finished its correction. This is important because if I go for a 4-hour continuation setup, you have a small risk, a high reward. right? I don't have to chase it. I will have then to wait, be patient, because if that doesn't play, right? Look at these FIB extension levels right back lower. We get very nice levels here to start another long, right? And there you go. And they also happen to be very, very important areas. So another confluence, okay? And once we do this instead, but remember, right now, that's not my base case scenario. But anyhow, if we were to eventually do pull off an undercut, I would be happy to long this once again. From a much lower level, the reward would be even bigger, right? Understanding how price gets to certain areas is utterly important. And I believe, otherwise I would not teach you this, the secret to all of this is cycles, okay? Okay, let's have it. Let's see if there are some questions here. Nikolai, check. Yes. All right. Thanks. So you guys can hear me. Beautiful. Okay. Any questions? Come on. You gotta challenge me, right? Maybe are you surprised because I'm not a copy paster scammer? I'm happy to have a proper conversation, whether it is macro after the Fed conference yesterday, maybe technical questions, right? Anything. Okay. So, and obviously with gold now dipping, right? Emotions get wild. But once you actually understand these posts, right, I'm giving you, then it makes it much more comfortable understanding the price action. You can also take this with as an intraday trader, right? Knowing, all right, these are actually higher time frames where we could actually see a pivot occurring. So these could be the levels I want to trade intraday instead of like, I don't know, freestyling, looking for any copy paster who shares a setup and you believe that's the one, right? Trading requires a lot of work and understanding, and I'm doing my best here to help. All right. Okay, so gold is right now literally stuck here at that threshold, the zero point 0.5 FIB retracement, and that market psychological level here at 4200s. So let's see what happens if it breaks, right? Or it holds, right? There is a good chance for at least a relief here. Anyway, so one other chart I covered extensively these past weeks, right? Also shared information here on X about broader trends, broader cycles, which could be in play. And this is from my last live stream earlier this week, right? Look where we gotten to. Interesting. A high time frame level has been serving for a very low risk, high reward setup. And that's exactly what I was just referring to, right? Understanding the levels which can serve you, whether you're an intraday trader, right? Intra-week trader, you just need to connect the dots, okay? So, what has our suggestion here been, right? So, we have a daily cycle failure. The alternative is we have had a daily cycle low here, and the failure actually started here. That this may take some more time than the alternative scenario, where we may have already been putting in a significant low here, right? Beautiful horizontal level along with the 200 DMA, right? Days before, if you've been a subscriber to Kiddos Global, you would have had this setup already weeks prior, right? So that's the area I believe, whether or not we're gonna see another undercut, right? I believe that's the area of accumulation for WTI. And once this also seasonally driven weakening phase is done, same view as last time, I believe there is going to be a sustainable rally back towards 100 minimum, and in a very bullish continuation, even new local highs. Okay? Nothing new. If you missed the prior live market breakdown from Monday, again, you can scan my my X. The links to the YouTube channel is right there. Okay, so, and make sure to subscribe if you want to see me doing more of these live streams, right? Like and share, that's all I'm asking. Maybe even ask some questions, right? Let's have like a discussion, exchanging thoughts and ideas. And yeah, all right. So, any questions about WTI before going into another chart? All right then. So if there is no question here, let's change the scape here. All right. So let's have a look at our watch list. All right. So today, for example, gold back, WTI here back into green. We see also indices, the S&P bouncing back up, the NASDAQ pushing back into the all-time highs, right? Small caps up. The Dow is actually struggling here, which has been priorly actually keeping this keeping the market alive, right? Let's have a quick look into this one here. Yeah, so looks like that daily cycle low back from here, right, is high correction. We are now here, right, seeking out a daily cycle high. So yeah, money looks like to have been rotating, and where is it heading to, right? Memory stocks. Let's have a look at the semis here and look at this. So why are the semis so brutally strong here, right? And if you watch the prior update from Monday, right, where I discussed the markets for 104 minutes, right, then you should also understand that the cycles are responsible for this. And why? So, unlike the S&P here, right, which had on the drawdown here, either put in a daily cycle low after a very long daily cycle, or it has, unlike the semis here, already failed, right? And we are meant to pull off this, right? So, and there you have it, right? Understanding this, right? Right into the 0.764 here on the daily retracement, we are now still seeking out a daily cycle high. So what did I do? So after my initial position, if you remember here on Monday, I went short. I was overall risking, remember, 5.16% for a much broader return. So what I did after Tuesday's nuke here, I took some profits out, right? And just earlier today, I was adding here at 655, I believe. Yeah. So we are right at that horizontal area here. Okay. I do not know how this is going to unfold. I'm positioned short. Can we distribute here longer or even rally higher? Of course, right? If we break this horizontal resistance area, for example, you take this prior half cycle high here, connected to the half cycle low, and then you have these FIB extensions right there. For example, here the 1.5, so we could be squeezing all the way to 687, and we are about to reach this one here at the 1.272 at 667. So we are all heading into very restrictive area. But why is it restrictive area? Because the time is also suggesting the same, right? So yes, while within the immediate short term, within the next trading sessions, price could technically squeeze higher. But remember, one thing, time is running out. Okay? So this is important because once you have made out a significant area of resistance, which is right now still holding, okay? So we have been spending all day long within that 649, 660 zone right here. If that holds, the risk reward obviously right now is crazily good for a reversal, seeking out a daily cycle high and then coming back down into a daily cycle low. Okay? So once you identify this, right, you gotta make sure, all right, what kind of strategy should I be if I was to be interested in trading this? Maybe that's not your asset, not your cup of tea. You don't even give a damn about the semis here. But understanding that the semis are responsible for this overall good performance on the S&P and the NASDAQ, you have to pay attention to these if you trade other assets. Because one of my saying is, be an expert on the asset you are trading. So if you trade the S&P and the NASDAQ, you gotta know where is that move coming from? Where is that money coming from pushing indices right now higher, for example, right? So this is also giving me then the comfort. All right, I think I'm good with my overall swing trade here right now in the S&P, which we also now gonna be talking about, right? So remember how I was basically suggesting to you, all right, we're at the risk reward dimension here, which is a no-brainer. And remember the instrument I have been using here, right? And yesterday's volatility brought me some very, very nice gains. Okay? That's sometimes this simple, identifying cycle inflections, which then put you in a position where you can risk small but win big. Okay? And yeah, no better example. Once you maybe watch that breakdown from the Monday session, right? Maybe you're gonna see like, oh, well, this was insane. Why didn't I personally go for it? For example, right? So within a very short period of time, 50% gains. Yummy. Okay, so now, therefore, we can also conclude just by watching within our watch list. All right, semis are right now holding the S&P up, the NASDAQ up. I should be paying attention to the semis here, because what if this area holds and we do start a reversal from here? How could this affect the other assets, right? So please keep an eye on this. Now, let's see. Are there any further questions here, or any questions at all? It fascinates me. If I was to be like when I was trying to pick up some TA market insights, I would be the kind of person who would ask questions all the time, right? Take notes, trying to understand the markets, what is driving the markets, and so much more. But again, maybe everyone is different here, right? And yeah, if you do find this stuff interesting I'm talking about, right, you can also follow our CEO here at Kiddos Global, or you like the stuff Michael does within our scalp trading ideas. And if you want to join Kiddos Global, right, there is a lot here to pick up on, make some due diligence, right, on what we do day in, day out. And yeah, maybe happy to see you soon within our team, right? Okay, so semis we have to be keeping a very close eye on. All right, so let's check one more time. Are there any questions here? Nope. Okay. Now, let's have a look. The DXY. This is insane. Okay, so we have gold now, right now, pulling lower from its pivot a couple of weeks ago, a week ago roughly. And now we have, within that time window right here, these past days, the DXY absolutely going bonkers. So now, what is the driving force here? We have a clear horizontal resistance area. Okay. There you go. We have also a daily cycle, which now looks to have bottomed here around the 21 DMA, right? We broke that horizontal resistance. And this is the first time, look at this, right? This has been subject in our stream for now a couple of weeks, actually. Massive resistance, 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 massive down move, right? Here, look at this. Let me zoom in to show you. A daily close above, no confirmation, we go down. Another attempt, another close above, look at the result, down move. So this area right here is crazy, people, right? Crazy resistance. And this resistance here the other day led to a swing high and a move down into a new bottom. Okay? There you go. A very short but crispy cycle here. So now the following, people. Okay? We can't see gold and the DXY obviously going up at the same time for a period of time. But it tends to be, at the end of all of this, one of those assets is simply lying. Okay? And to figure out which one is gonna lie, right? It is utterly important to identify, to have a very clear area of support and resistance. Okay? Knowing what is the current state of the cycle. Okay? Because here you could argue, right? We are still seeking out a daily cycle high, right? What makes this here not just be, oh, we are still in the same cycle, we are seeking out a high, right? We have our daily inclining trend line right there. Okay. Oh, wait, give me a second. There you go. Okay. So that's one cycle right here. And the move down is still to come. Okay. So the the devil is in the detail, right? So on this down move here, right? What actually occurred was we have had a very, very small short 4-hour cycle here bottoming, right, at a horizontal support, the 0.382 here from this entire cycle. And now we got this move back to the upside. So while this is all nice, right, we can still not fully invalidate an upcoming weakening phase. And this could be what gold desperately needs going forward, right? A rollover. However, now we also identified a very, very crucial area here, right? So, for example, tomorrow, if it wasn't a bank holiday, right, the 10 DMA will also be right in this box. So, at some point, right, you can run here, but you cannot hide from the ultimate backtest. This is such a significant magnetic field. Price is going to come back here. And that's where gold needs to shine. Okay? Now, when I talk about this area here a lot, right, it also is going to be the area where price, right, what price is right now doing. So you don't want to see this happening. Okay? So if price does come down, what you want to see is something like this. Okay? Which one of these is going to happen, we will have to find out. But right now, trying to bet against the dollar as we speak is not a very good idea. So this is also giving us, all right, maybe I should be paying more attention to gold here, right? And if things do start to crumble down, right, that the DXY may face resistance once gold does approach the ultimate inflection zone, right? So that's very crucial to figure out. Happy to see that our zero point 0.5 here, that 4200 level is still trying to hold, right? But let's have a look on the 4-hour. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad here, right? So it is an important level. It is the 0.5 FIB retracement. It is a psychological level. So let's see. Yeah, so we are right now stretched from DMA. So consolidation here is very, very likely going to occur. Okay. So nice bounce. Look at this. 10 points. Scalps. I'm not a scalp trader, so don't get me wrong here. I couldn't care less right now. Okay, so semis here are bursting higher. That's not what I want to see, right? But something we shouldn't be surprised of. So, all right. So I'm comfortable holding my positions, right? Remember, it's a 3x ETF short, so I know this area is going to be also a magnetic field, so I'm not gonna just simply add on every point advance. I have an overall good entry, okay? So what I will be looking for is just understanding. All right, we are seeking out a daily cycle high. So yes, this can go higher here, right, for a couple of days. But guess what? Every major resistance zone will have to be back tested. And on the back test, if I see weakness, I will be happy to hold my positions here easily. If we extend higher separate from this area and I could get another good entry zone right on the back test, I will be in profits. Okay, so that's what the semis are doing right now. I would not be surprised we are now right now into the close. I'm actually a bit surprised that we are not seeing some more volatility to the downside here on the S&P futures expiration, options expirations, right? So interesting. All right. Okay, let's have a look. Are there any other questions here? No questions. I am very, very surprised. I thought maybe some of you would be asking, what about silver? Because I'm nice, so let's have a look at silver here and see what is happening. All right, so these arrows are from our Monday update, right? Explaining some stuff. Here's another beautiful example of how our DMAs are a very, very important factor within our cycle framework, right? Understanding, is there a proper change of character or not? And right now, remember, we talked about the DMAs here, right? Look at this advance here, and now we're back at it. So, what can we make of this? It is running the same cycle as gold. So, 1 hour cycle here, right? Took out this high, trap buyers, right? And whoop, down we go. So fundamentally understanding these lower time frame cycles, the concept how cycles are interconnected, right, is very important, not to be getting caught off guard. Okay? So here the same. We take this 4-hour bottom connected to the 4-hour top, right? And here we have already broken the 0.618, right? So there is more demand to come down here. So what areas are we highlighting? There you go. We highlight the 0.786 here. Let's use yellow, okay? 64.50 would be our inflection zone. There you go. Here we go. So right now I have no issue, right? Being long, right? As long as this area here holds. Okay? So if price does indeed come down here, okay, that's a beautiful risk reward setup. So in what kind of fashion we get there, that's a different magnitude. Could we have already set the 4-hour bottom here, right? Again, it is the same cycle as gold on the lower time frames. Okay, there you go. 1-hour bottom right there, beautiful. Initial high, whoop, and then the failure. We try to go back up. Look at these MAs here, contained price beautifully. So the ultimate question here is the same. Is the 1-hour bottom in? Is this a new 1-hour cycle which has already failed? Then another move back up, and here we go. For our inflection zone, we bring it back to the upside. Okay? So the area here, 6-7, right? Some of you may, that's an area we are going to get back to like a freaking magnet. Is it going to happen from here or from here? If we cannot break it back above here on this attempt, right? And we do see another move lower, then this is the driving cycle. We would need to be more patient here. And yeah, the concept is the same. Now, let's talk about mining stocks like GDX. And I just wanted to show you another prime example of these MAs here. So, we had a very, very nice reaction here at 73.63, okay? A massive move. Let me have a look here. 22% rally out of the mine GDX here. So where did this rally stop though? 55 DMA. It tagged it, and ever since then retraced roughly 9%. A very, very volatile unfolding. So now the question is this a daily cycle low, right? I really do think that's a daily pivot here. So for that occurrence, fact, a pullback back here, right, is fine. However, we cannot break certain areas on that pullback, because then you're gonna make yourself very, very vulnerable of going lower. Okay? So, therefore, here the same. Let's even use the 0.888. At that point, I would not be. So, if this area here holds, it's good. The potential of going for a new local high are rising. Okay? So, if we do this instead, that's not going to be good. So this is how important the 0.786 ultimately is going to give us ideas here. Okay? So, very important. Our 10 DMA here obviously is also a very important signal. You do not want to be trading below, right? If you do, it should be temporarily. Okay, so that's silver. Anything else of? Let's do one last question round. Are there any questions here? Come on, let's have it. Don't be shy. Ask questions. Any questions. You can even have a request. This is how nice I am. Last chance, guys. All right, then I'm going to ask you a favor. If you like me to do these live streams more frequently, I would love to see some feedback, right? Likes and shares. And that's all I'm asking you, in exchange, right? Give and you will be given. That's me. So tomorrow, just a highlight, there is the New York session is closed. There is a bank holiday in the US, the celebration of the end of slavery. So there is a bank holiday for tomorrow in the US. I think everything else is open. I don't know about the US futures though, whether or not they're open. But yeah, so keep an eye on this. So if you're in the US, right, you have 8 more minutes to make sure, to understand your positions. Okay. And yeah. Oh, look at gold now. 15-point bounce off that 0.5. Nice. Why is it nice? Because I know some of our subscribers went for this. Okay, anything else? Let's have a quick look at Nvidia, since nobody of you is asking any questions. Thanks for liking and sharing. Nvidia. All right. Yeah, that's the ultimate question here, right? What is Nvidia been up to here? High correction top. Is this the daily cycle low, or is the daily cycle low here? If that's going to be the ultimate question, because if the daily cycle has already failed, yes, we can grind our way back up, but it will be met by a heavy brick wall. That's for sure. If the daily cycle low is here, right, it's a completely different picture, because then we are now heading into a new high, and the next area of resistance would not be until 218 here, the 0.5, so there would still be more room here to be bouncing from. The 0.764 here, right at that 228 level. That's an important one right there. Okay, so all right. Anything else? Let's have a quick look at Bitcoin. All righty. So yeah, BTC. Look at this, different time frame, but same patterns, right? Massive drop. What do we tend to see? Grind up, and we're boom. This, you can scale these patterns even into the lowest time frames, right? But you even see these on daily, weekly outcomes, right? Understanding the cycles, understanding how market psychology functions, and yeah. Here, just to highlight, look at the 200 DMA here. It's like, come on, like a freaking brick wall. Look at this, how smooth of a rejection. And then, whoop. And now we have been trying here, getting back above the 21 DMA for 3 consecutive days. Didn't work out, right? And yeah, as physics goes, down we go. Okay? So, are we going to pull off another undercut low here? The reasoning is, what is this cycle telling us, right? So, did we indeed here already fail this cycle very early? Then another undercut is very likely. If this is one cycle here, right? BTC cycles tend to be of the longer kind. It makes only sense because it is a 24/7 trading asset right into the weekends. So these therefore are historically just on average longer than other cycles. So if that's the daily cycle low, right, then you can come up even with an idea, very similar to what gold has been doing, right? You go up, you're meeting resistance, you pull back, and then you're gonna go. Okay, so let's pull off these FIP retracement levels right there. Okay, so and in a second you're gonna see, oh, what is the price? We have gotten support here at 8.618. Do I think this is going to hold? Maybe, or maybe we just need to go a bit lower, right? So there you go here instead, right? So makes it very straightforward. This area here needs to hold. If we get there, smallest risk for a very nice reward. Okay. We have also that 66.30 here. We take this area right there. Okay. And then you come up with an idea. That's your risk implication. That's your reward. 6.721. Not bad. If that doesn't work, you know, all right, we're gonna continue on the alternative count here, right? Which has this just simply as a relief rally. We're gonna undercut into a proper daily cycle low. Okay? That's how you distinguish, right? If you don't have to look for a trade. The trade needs to come your way, right? To make a judgment. And if you just approach the market from a very strategic POV, trust me, you're gonna be profitable on the long run. It's called compounding. You don't need to trade every single day. Okay? And that's one of the teachings also at Kiddos Global, right? Because let's be real, there are so many different kind of strategies. People are being occupied with the work and family. They want to be investing, right? Some have more time. They want to do intraday trading. Maybe that's your even profession. You want to learn a new approach to trading, and all of this stuff, right, adds up. And what I'm doing full time is, right, apart from my personal trading, is also teaching different strategies at different times, right? And yeah, that's my passion, if you haven't noticed, right? That's what is driving me. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys, right? If you want to maybe learn or see more about me, make sure to follow here at Kiddo Stuff, right? You find everything you need to know. Also at our website, if you're interested in joining, right, you can reach out. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, right? Likes and shares, and I'm gonna do these live updates more frequently. So that's it from my side, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.